Okay. We have time for a few. Did you want to answer that as well?
One quick comment on that. I think thinking that this could be the biggest thing in the world is obviously a great thing. But you have to understand whether we're doing things that support near-term actions that might not be that much different if we know that it's 100 million or it's 10 million versus maybe shooting the moon, where you're doing things expecting you're going to have these big numbers instead of working on getting to those big numbers. And I think that is one of the issues, is that in the end we need to focus on very cost-effective, very desirable vehicles that car companies can make money, people can buy them, and will love them, and will actually have a positive life cycle positive cost structure. People have to start thinking in terms of weekly gas costs as opposed to getting the lowest upfront vehicle cost. But the point is, I think all those things that we have to do, I think, are kind of the same. And we can go and work on vehicle to grid, and we can work on 100 million vehicles and do all these things kind of in the background. But those initial steps, which are how to get a one-step charger install and get enough vehicles out on the road to grow demand, those are really the near-term actions.
And I think, too, it's worth recognizing that a lot of people give the analogy of, could this be like the iPod and iTunes dramatically changing the music business? I mean, there's a lot of heavy infrastructure that needs to go into making EVs work. Let's get another question. This woman in the back right there. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Stephanie White, and I am a member of Project Driveway. My question has to deal with people who make the societal, environmentally responsible decisions oftentimes bear an additional burden, whether it's a cost that comes up later on from having a more expensive recharging structure, or threats to make up for gas tax deficits by charging for mileage or for an alternative fuel tax or something like that. And I want to know what it's going to take to encourage a paradigm shift so that these benefits to society are recognized by the larger society. People who buy the Volt are going to not only purchase this car for themselves, but it's also going to help car manufacturers meet their goals. It's going to help AQMD meet attainment levels here in the Los Angeles area. And there's a host of benefits to society at large. How are we going to encourage this paradigm shift in thinking?
Good question. Senator, do you want to address this? I mean,
sure.
How can we really reward people who are at the forefront of adaptation of new green technologies and practices?
Well, the next generation of electric vehicles are in a rather strategic position because it does, in fact, open up opportunities for economic development for the state of California. So to that extent, there's a lot of interest in being supportive and being very, very helpful. But mind you, we are in a rather tough economic time, and just as the first generation of electric vehicles are in its waning days, the sense then is that, well, that's that, and we need to look at new generations that may expand the green economy even more. And I think that that's the transitions that go on with some of these new technology. I think one of the things that needs to happen, and I hope that Chevrolet is looking at it, is not to just simply look at California, even though it's a pretty large market in the United States, but to look at other countries and other markets and look at that as an additional opportunity to leverage those markets to help deal with, I think, some of their costs as it stands right now. I think Michael's correct. I mean, other countries in Asia are looking at the next generations of electric vehicles and that particular technology. I would hope that because of all of the R&D that's gone on already, that Chevrolet and other companies would in fact be looking to China and other markets in Asia to see whether or not they can partner or they can help bring some of that technology into those markets, and thereby leveraging whatever they can do to help with the cost here in America.
The only thing I would add to that is that we're already doing some of those things. We've been doing it for several years. The senator mentioned earlier HOV lanes. 6 or so years ago, it became state policy to give out these stickers to the first 75,000 people that would drive hybrids or electric vehicles, but principally hybrids. And it really stimulated the sale of those cars, and those stickers have a value in and of themselves today. And our principal office is in San Francisco. When I drive from San Francisco to Sacramento, I drive a Prius hybrid, and I go in the commute lane. And it is a significant time saver, and it's very valuable. That's a small thing. The bigger one is tax credits. Giving tax credits for electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles is a tremendous stimulus, and it is a paradigm shifter, because then people say, it's society saying, this makes sense, let's do it. And I'll give you a final example, which probably much to the chagrin of General Motors, but Tesla Motors gets over a $300 million loan from the federal government to build its four-door car and build a factory. Hopefully, we hope right here in Southern California. There's been some announcements about it, but it's not definitive unless it happened today. But these are things that do create paradigm shifts. So it's underway, frankly, fostered and promoted, in my opinion, and I don't want to sound partisan, but fostered and promoted by an administration in Washington that sees the need to make a paradigm shift.
Okay. I'm going to go to a question from online. We have Diego, who's asking, will General Motors ever consider the development of a vehicle with a swappable battery pack? This is similar to the model proposed by a company called Better Place.
I think it's all alternatives are available for this kind of technology. So we don't have a definition at this point, but there is a business model that makes sense. And you know, I think one of the interesting things as a marketer is trying to explain this new technology. You know, as we talked about, you know, from a consumer standpoint. So for some consumers, that would be, I think, as Mark said, match their needs in terms of how you separate the car from the battery. And some consumers, that would be an additional complexity that they would not want to have. And so, you know, I think this is an alternative to the industry. Whether we would participate in that is still under development, but these are all of the new paradigm shifts that are happening in the industry. I think, you know, our company and in particular our division, we're open to all kind of good ideas as we keep learning through this. As I said, we've learned a lot over the last 10 years, learned over a lot over the last year and the last month and even this last weekend. So that's what's exciting when you bring technology together and you match it up with consumers. This lady over here talking about the Project Driveway, exciting project. I mean, when we first came up with the concept to get real life experiences on hydrogen fuel cells, we've learned a lot from those early adopters and their experiences that have gone into this vehicle and to our other technologies. So. So I say stay tuned, and we'll keep studying it.
Well, while we're talking about letting kind of 1,000 flowers of technology innovation bloom, where does the Volt technology go next for Chevrolet and General Motors, do you think?
Well, we refer to this technology as Voltec technology. The idea was to start it on Chevrolet. You know, we're obviously going to be looking at other divisions. We have announced the Opel Ampera for Europe, so we will be marketing both the Chevrolet Volt and the Ampera in Europe. We are looking to Asia and other markets for electric vehicles as well. And you know, obviously, once you have the technology, it has the ability with this kind of design to go to other models, other products. You know, our focus right now is bringing the Volt to market. We've got a fantastic team working 24/7 to bring this to market, and that's our biggest primary focus at this point. But once you understand the technology, the mind can go further to what really the potential of this type of vehicle is.